The representative of the United States for her statement, and I now give the floor to the representative of the Islamic Republic of Iran.
Thank you. In the name of God, the Compassionate and Merciful, thank you, Madam President, for convening this meeting. Today is International Women's Day in Diplomacy. Let me begin by congratulating you and all women diplomats on this occasion. I also congratulate you on your successful leadership of the Council thus far in June. And I commend your tireless efforts in convening emergency meeting to draw the Security Council attention to the aggression by Israel and the United States against my country and the blatant violation. I wish to sincerely thank our brotherly and friendly nation, the State of Qatar, for its sincere and diplomatic efforts to help end Israeli aggression, establish a ceasefire, and prevent a further escalation of regional tensions that threaten peace and stability in the region. We thank Under-Secretary General Ms. DiCarlo for her briefing. We take note of the Secretary General's report. We echo ourselves with the Secretary General's call for a diplomatic solution in his report, as well as with the USG in her today's briefing. We welcome Slovenia as facilitator of Resolution 2231 and appreciate Ambassador Jubogar and his team for preparing the report and today's briefing. We take note of the statement made by the Ambassador Lambrinidis, head of delegation of the European Union in the capacity of the coordinator of JCPOA. Madam President, first and foremost, I wish to express my strong objection to the participation of the delegation of the Israeli regime in this meeting. Legally and procedurally, Israel has no standing to take part in this meeting. This regime has no connection to the agenda of the meeting, no Resolution 2231 or the JCPOA. The participants to the JCPOA, as mentioned in Resolution 2231, are clearly defined, and the Council's practice in convening meeting under this agenda item has always been limited to the JCPOA participants. Madam President, this meeting is the final Security Council briefing on Resolution 2231 before its expiration in October 2025. In this context, I would like to make following points. First, the U.S. unilateral withdrawal from the JCPOA in 2018, it then imposed illegal extraterritorial sanctions violating UN Security Council Resolution 2231. Iran has honored its commitment in constraint the United States with the full support from the UK, France, and Germany has repeatedly violated both the spirit and letter of the JCPOA, as well as Resolution 2231. The root causes of the current situation are simple and clear. Therefore, they are not in a position to accuse Iran of non-compliance. Second, today's meeting takes place as my country faces an unprovoked military aggression that blatantly violates international law, the UN Charter, the Statute of the IAEA, the General Conference Resolution, and Resolution 2231. This Resolution 2231 calls on all UN member states to avoid actions that undermine the resolution and the JCPOA. However, with the full US support, Israel has targeted Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities, civilians, and civilian infrastructure. Israel falsely justified these attacks on Iran's peaceful nuclear program as an imminent threat. This claim is baseless and has no legal base. In reality, Israel, the region's only undeclared nuclear-armed entity and non-party to NPT, refused IAEA inspections and monitoring, while Iran complies with the NPT and has subjected its nuclear program to the most rigorous IAEA monitoring. The breach of Resolution 2231 and international law is not limited to Israel. The United States, a permanent council member responsible for upholding its resolution, also attacked Iran nuclear facilities under IAEA safeguard. Third, It is profoundly troubling that even after a decade of Resolution 2231, Iran's fully monitored, peaceful nuclear program has been repeatedly targeted by Israel and the United States. These illegal actions set a dangerous precedent, undermine the non-proliferation regime, and damage the credibility of the Security Council. Resolution 2231 was intended to promote peaceful solution and strengthen the Council's role in preventing unnecessary crises. However, reckless attacks on Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities by Israel and the US has gravely weakened this role. It is disappointing that the Council failed to condemn these illegal attacks, despite a strong request by Resolution 487, which prohibits such illegal acts. We call on the Council to, at the very least, explicitly condemn these aggressions and ensure they don't happen again. Fourth, the double standards are blatant. While the US, the UK, France maintain massive nuclear arsenals and overlook Israeli undeclared stockpiles, they baselessly claim Iran's peaceful program threatens international peace and security. These political accusations have been refuted for years by Iran's transparency and by its full cooperation with IAEA. If they truly care about the non-proliferation regime, they must condemn Israel's violation of international law and Resolution 487. Fifth, claims that Iran has violated Resolution 2231 are groundless. For past decades, Iran has upheld Resolution 2231 and the JCPOA. Our remedial measures have been fully consistent with these two instruments, meant only to restore balance and encourage all parties to return to their commitment. Iran's remedial measure must not be misused to justify new pressure on the JCPOA or Resolution 2231. The Council must prevent any attempt to manipulate this mechanism against Iran. Sixth, Resolution 2231 must conclude on a schedule, and Iran reject any attempt to revive expired provisions under any pretext. Unfortunately, European JCPOA participants have failed to meet their obligation. Even worse, they falsely assert that Iran is close to acquiring nuclear weapons, a falsehood unsupported by credible evidence. Our peaceful program under strict IAEA verification cannot be denied. Despite this aggression and the unconstructive behavior of the European parties, Iran remains committed to diplomacy and peaceful dispute resolution. Resolution 2231 proved that diplomacy can and must resolve differences. Seventh, Iran continues to believe a diplomatic resolution to nuclear and sanction issue is possible. Our commitment is evident through our full implementation of JCPOA and Resolution 2231. But if the other parties truly want a resolution, they must respect Iran's right and stop undermining diplomacy. 8. Iran never initiated this war. Once the aggressors stopped their attacks, Iran stopped its lawful military response as well. Nevertheless, Iran will not overlook the deceit and double standards. Our brave armed forces remain fully prepared to respond to any further threats or violation. Finally, to conclude, Madam President, we are now closer to diplomacy than ever before. The long, large-scale war they thought could force Iran into so-called unconditional surrender and make it abandon its peaceful nuclear program through intimidation, threats, and the use of force has failed more clearly than ever. They unleashed their full military might, supporting and providing Israel with advanced fighter jets, sophisticated weaponry, and the most powerful bombs, even bunker busters, to attack Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities, and covertly, deliberately, and indiscriminately targeted civilians and critical infrastructures. These attacks led to the martyrdom of hundreds of innocent people, including women, children, nuclear scientists, academics, athletes, students, aid workers, and senior military officials, and left thousands more injured. We honor martyrs for their sacrifices as well as our brave, patriotic people in defense of our homeland. Iran emerged proud and steadfast in the face of this criminal aggression. This proves one simple truth more clearly than ever: diplomacy and dialogue are the only path to resolving the unnecessary crisis over Iran's peaceful program. I thank you.
I thank the representative of the Islamic Republic of Iran